Hey guys, what's up, Zelly here. Finally, there is an official gameplay trailer for Dishonored 2, and there is so much to look at. So, without further ado, let's get straight into this content. We begin the trailer with a look at the Dreadful Whale, which will be a hub that the player will return to throughout the game. It's the equivalent to that of the Hound Pits pub in the previous game, a 300-year-old pub home to the Loyalists and a space that Corvo utilizes to prepare for missions. Here we see a female opening large doors to an official event that is hosted by the new Empress Emily Coldwin. Now, I have a feeling that this girl is more than just a guard. Well, firstly, she's a female, and I wouldn't be surprised if Emily wasn't the only strong female protagonist in the game. In fact, even from the first game, there has been a strong sense of, well, girl power. From insanely powerful antagonists to Emily Coldwin and Jessamine themselves. So, who is she? Her clothing is similar to that of Corvo's as Lord Protector. Is she a Lord Protector in training? Ready to take Corvo's place when he gets too old to defend Emily? Is she Corvo's apprentice that is mentioned in the comic books? Who knows? Looking more at what she's opening the doors to, we notice a lot of candles, obviously wealthy guests, and a banner in the center of the wall reading "Long Live Empress Jessamine." This provides the assumption that this is in fact a memorial for the previous Empress, perhaps a 15-year anniversary. We also see Corvo for the first time on the left, and see a closer look at him and his new look. This seems to be from Emily's point of view. It's quite probable that we play as Emily until the pivotal moment after a dramatic sequence where we choose to play either as Corvo or Emily. Emily lays a rose in memory of her mother, the previous Empress of Dunwall, and we get a closer look at the painting of her in a glass case, as well as the banner shown earlier with two large carved wooden birds on either side. We are then taken outside and shown a panning of what looks to be more of what we saw of the rail car system in the first Dishonored. We then see what was one of the previous released screenshots of the bloodflies in a dark room resembling a small attic. Some more environmental scenery of Karnaca, and we also see a hunted whale. Though a lot of Karnaca's power seems to be from the wind turbines, they still, like Dunwall, harvest whale oil. We pan over to the Dreadful Whale once again and get some more looks at Karnaca's street environment. A small cloud of dust shows that this is in fact the Dust District. The creepy Overseer's mask has returned even creepier. We see what I'm assuming to be a Overseer about to execute a man, and we get a closer look at the new uniform and mask. The mask being more of a chrome design as opposed to Dunwall's white Overseer mask. In this scene, Corvo is having a heated conversation with who is Delilah. Delilah is the leader of the deadly and powerful coven of the Brigmore Witches, a powerful character who returns from the previous game's DLC, The Knife of Dunwall, and the Brigmore Witches. This must be the spark of drama that begins at the memorial, because straight after we cut to a scene of Corvo fighting guards. We see Corvo use his bend time power and in an instant takes out 3 guards. We were told in an article about Corvo's powers that bend time can also be used to completely stop time. Perhaps this is a showcase of Corvo using this power. We also see Delilah in the background watching. After Delilah removes a sword from her gut without worry, it cuts to a guard stabbing, you guessed it, the girl in the beginning of the trailer. So, I guess she wasn't as important to the story as I initially thought. Well, I want to point out my apprentice theory again. As her body lays on the ground, we see Emily's hand outstretched towards her. So obviously this girl meant something to her. So it is totally still likely that this girl was possibly Corvo's apprentice and trained alongside Emily and Corvo to perhaps become the next royal protector. We then cut to a scene of Emily shooting at a guard with a gun that seems to resemble more of a shotgun than the pistol we used in the previous games. Does this mean that there are multiple types of guns in Dishonored 2? I guess so. A compilation of badass guard kills by Emily show off hand-to-hand combat and various finishing kills that all look super awesome. Then we move into the Void, the still empty alternate dimension home to the divine entity, the Outsider. Showing off some more scenes of Karnaca's environment, a potential new important character, more of the moving mechanical clockwork mansion, its clockwork soldiers, and a member of what I assume to be the Howler Gang. We also get a look at this character, a man who is interrogating an Overseer. Is he a protagonist who works alongside Corvo and Emily, or an antagonist? This next scene I found really interesting. Emily picks up a ring and puts it on her hand, but if we look closely, this ring isn't just any ring. Upon closer observation, the ring shows 4 different keys that intertwine in the center. The fact that the detail on the ring isn't flat might mean that the ring itself may perhaps be a key. I think there's much more to that ring than meets the eye. We also get another look at Shadow Walk in action. It shows itself off as a stealth power combined with a attack power, sneaking up behind a guard and then attacking him just as we see in the cinematic trailer. A body is dropped on the desk of a character we saw earlier interrogating the Overseer. Is it possible that this takes place on the Dreadful Whale? Next, we see a badass clip of Emily using her far-reach ability to grab and throw a guard from the building opposite her through 2 windows in her direction. This is in order to perform a deathly blow. Here, Emily drop attacks a clockwork soldier. We can get a look at its inner workings. It's also worth noting that even after Emily cuts off its head, it still continues to attack. We now get a look at Emily's domino ability. Each guard has a light beam on their heads as Emily stabs one guard, which then takes down the other 3 guards. I think it's safe to say that at this point we're all pretty excited to play with Emily's new powers. We now see a beautiful indoor garden before it fades to what it looks like a makeshift or destroyed outsider's shrine, which then bursts into pieces and transitions briefly to the void before moving to a scene where Emily is seen reaching door handles before being pulled and dragged away. Initially I thought this was one of her attackers, however then we see that she's being pulled into the void and grabbed by the outsider. The outsider looks pretty different compared to the last game. Perhaps this has to do with the new voice and overall style of the character in the sequel. Emily is shown the void and observes a rune. We then transition back to Dunwall to see the carnage and the result of the initial attack. The ability Mesmerized is now showcased, showing these 3 characters staring at a strange portal looking thing. I'm not quite sure what the meaning of the clockwork sculptures shown around the building is, but it does also show that we're back in Karnaca. We now get a look at Karnaca's equivalent to Dunwall's Weepers. So far they do not have a name, but the Weeper-like creature is shown screaming. After it screams, the bloodflies around it become hostile and swarm towards Emily. Do these screaming Weepers alert bloodflies and make them hostile, or is there some other different connection between the two? I guess we'll see. The next transition returns us to the Void. Emily holds in her hand the heart of her mother's, Jessamine Coldwin, who is there in a spiritual form in front of her. The heart was a tool used in the previous Dishonored game. Lastly, we are shown the scene where Emily receives the mark of the outsider. Thank you guys for watching. I also wanted to thank you guys for helping me reach my biggest milestone for the longest time, 1,000 subs. So if you like this video, please hit that like button. I have way more content from the Bethesda E3 conference coming soon, so stay tuned. And please subscribe for more. All of my social media links are down below. Bye!